The Great Debate Series. Best coach ever.
Best NFL coach ever. We've been doing best at their position in the NFL all week long. So today we're going to do coach, and then later in the show, fan base. Am I going first?
Yeah,
on
you
this
go first with the coach.
Okay, here we go. The greatest coach in the history of the NFL is none other than the hoodie himself. It's Bill Belichick. He's 31-13 in the playoffs. Almost need I say more. 17 division titles, 9 Super Bowl appearances with 6 wins. Also 2 wins as an assistant coach with the New York Jets. 3-time coach of the year. This is shocking a little bit. He won the 2021 Executive of the Year. Okay. In an era that was designed for parity, the New England Patriots' dominance over 20 years is what sets Belichick apart. Are there coaches with more wins like Don Shula? Yes, there are. But did Don Shula have to deal with this amount of parity in the league that the NFL is begging for new teams to be in the conversation year after year? And yet it was the Patriots, the Patriots, the Patriots. He has 9 more playoff wins than George Halas and Don Shula. Think about this. This is just recently in the last 2 years. Bill Belichick won a game on the road against the eventual AFC Championship team by throwing 3 passes. If that's not catering your game plan to the weather conditions, yes, it was against the Bills. If that's not catering to the weather conditions and your personnel, I don't know what is. This is somebody who doesn't ask what can you do for me? It's how can I put you in the best position to succeed? That whole do your job thing, most coaches aren't doing that. They're doing some kind of system or whatever. Belichick will find exactly what you do well, and that's exactly what you'll do for as long as you're wearing a Patriots uniform. He's a student of the game. His teams are consistently the most disciplined, the most fundamentally sound. They're the, stupid BS penalties that other coaches and other teams have does not happen. And by the way, can never say that he's been propped up by his assistants, because all of his assistants basically go to other teams and fail outside of Nick Saban.
That's a good point.
So,
all right, we're running out of time.
There we go.
Bill Belichick.
There you got it.
Okay, I am going with legendary coach Paul Brown. Let's hear from Bill Belichick on who he thinks the greatest coach in the history of the NFL is.
Playbook, assistant coaches, game planning, training methods, strategy, scouting, all the things that Paul Brown did when he was with the Cleveland Browns. I continue to do the same things he did. Change the game, really, to make it professional football. Championship after championship, the greatest coach in football.
He's the greatest coach in football history. He worshiped Paul Brown. Let me give you Paul Brown's innovations. First head coach to give his prospective players intelligence tests. Well, that's been a little polarizing now.
Yeah.
First head coach in all sports to integrate African Americans into pro sports with Marion Motley and Bill Wills in 1946. He was the first coach to have his players wear face masks. He was the first coach to have classroom instruction on the professional level. He was the first coach to use film study ever. First one to have a practice squad. First one to have a playbook. The radio helmet, he invented that, and they actually outlawed it. He had a guy run in who had a transistor radio coming from the top of the stadium. Invented everything as we know in football. Won at the high school level at Massillon. Won at Ohio State, won a championship. Then came the pros and won multiple times with Cleveland. The guy invented everything we know about coaching as we know, and that's why Bill Belichick and everyone worships him. Just real quick, his coaching tree. Look at his coaching tree. It is Don Shula, Bill Walsh, Weeb Ewbank, and Chuck Noll. That's like 75% of the Lombardi trophies in the last 30 years. He was so significant that he is also not only the greatest coach, he's got to be the most underrated coach. Because did any other coach invent anything, or did Paul Brown do everything?
Oh, my gosh. Who's hounding the committee year after year about rule changes? It's always Belichick. Paul Brown is amazing. He was just first.
Dude invented the face mask and the playbook. The playbook. He was the first one who ever wrote down the plays in a book and handed it out.
Like they wouldn't have thought of that anyway.
They wouldn't have.
They would have.
It's crazy how much he invented. I mean, if you ever, Bill Belichick actually talks about LT, who I had yesterday. What's the word? He raps poetically or poetically rap. There's a rhapsodized.
Wax is poetic.
Wax is poetic about LT. He loves Paul Brown.
Stu wears a suit. Now all of a sudden, look what's happening.
He loves Paul Brown so much because Paul Brown is like a coach's coach. Also, he won a lot. I mean, listen, I love Bill Belichick. I think he's right there. And can we say Lombardi's name real quick?
Yeah, say it.
I mean, Vince Lombardi's a little different. I think you could say Vince Lombardi's the greatest coach ever. I think both of us could have made that argument as well.
Well,
he's in
chat,
the conversation.
There's a lot of talk about Bill Walsh in the chat.
Oh, another one.
Bill Walsh as an innovator, absolutely. But we're talking about greatest of all time.
But Walsh credits Paul Brown for teaching him everything about the forward pass. Anyway, that's it.